Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Gunpla TV. This is Evan, and this time we are looking at the CVX-83 Izumo 1 out of 100 scale full action plastic model kit from Kotobukiya. So this is from Kotobukiya's Frame Arms series. If you are new to Frame Arms like I am, Frame Arms is a line of model kits that feature an internal frame in which the rest of the mech is built upon. This is not too dissimilar from the internal frames that most master grade Gundam kits have. The Izumo is a new release, coming out just a few weeks ago in November as of making this video. This is a retooled version of the earlier released Kongo. So there are a lot of pieces and design cues that are ripped straight from this kit. The differences are the head, the shoulder guards, the rifle. You get a set of drones this time. The chest design is different, and the knee design is also different. The redesign was done by Takayuki Yanase, who has worked as a mechanical designer on a fair share of Gundam series as well as the Metal Gear Solid series. So what's in the box? Well, you get a number of runners. You get a whopping 29 plastic runners here, and that's not even including the polycaps. 3 of these runners are for the frame itself, so these are labeled as FA and FB. The rest of them are specific to the Izumo as well as the Kongo that it's based on. So this is a pretty hefty kit. Among these pieces, you also have some clear pieces for the head and for the stand accessories for the drones. You also get a pretty beefy manual in mostly Japanese, but it's easy to follow. By the way, when you're making this kit, you'll be grabbing parts from all over, so be prepared to have a lot of these runners spread out all over the table for quick access. And you also have some water transfer decals. In addition, I found the runners are a little bit confusing because the frame arm runners are just labeled A, unless you look carefully, where there's also A runners specific to the Izumo kit. So there is a and B runner for the Izumo, and there's also an A and B runner for the frame. So, fully completed, you have the main unit, a side shield that attaches to the shoulder, a shield / minigun that attaches to the forearm, a rifle, 4 drones, 6 hands. For the hands, you have fists for holding the weapon, closed fists, and open palms. There are some additional parts needed for the transformation here as well, and for the stand adapters for the drones, as I mentioned before. Next up is the articulation. So first, on the head here, you do have a double joint. There's one at the base of the neck, and there's one also in the back of the head, so the head can move upwards and downwards on this joint, as well as left and right. Though you might get snagged on a couple pieces here, so it could potentially rotate 360 degrees, but you will probably bump into a couple pieces here. In addition, when the head's completely down, it does not have too much movement because these pieces are in the way, but you can move it up and then to the side. The arms here are on a kind of an interesting joint. So you have this part here where there's a ball joint inside the chest that rotates, and you can move this back and front and up and down. And so this arm is also on a polycap joint that attaches here, and it can rotate up and back. Now these pieces here kind of get in the way, so you don't get too much movement unless you kind of pull it out of the peg a little bit, and then you can kind of move it a bit more. The elbow here is double jointed, so you get a really good amount of motion here. And the wrists here can move upwards and downwards, but no left to right motion. And it can also rotate 360 degrees. At the waist, you have this really skinny waist on one little peg, and this can move backwards and forwards and side to side. At the hips, you have a joint that lets the legs move outwards this much and inwards, and also rotate quite a bit, really 360 degrees. There's also this side panel here for the boat transformation, and that rotates on a peg 360 degrees, and this can also come off. And this part here can also slide outwards and inwards. And this the propeller part also rotates on its own peg. So I'll take that off. And taking a look at the knee here, this is also double jointed, and this panel kind of sticks out on its own as like a little kneecap. The foot is on a single joint. Left and right motion is okay, and forward to back motion is like so. And there's also this little heel flap. On the back you have these kind of wing looking boat sections, and they are on their own arms as well. So you have rotation here at the joint, as well as outwards rotation a bit, this much. And there's another joint here that moves up and down, and there's also another joint here that can rotate 360 as well as front to back. On the weapons, you have this minigun. There's some slight motion here on this little barrel, as well as the panel here that attaches to the forearm. The minigun doesn't move, that's stationary, and the rest of it is also stationary. And on the shoulder armor here, these drones can detach, and they have this little sliver of a peg here to attach to these panels. They can also attach to the other side as well. Another thing to note is all these pegs and holes are 30 millimeters. So if you have any of the other frame arm series or anything that really has a 30 millimeter peg, you can attach it to this unit. So that's cool. Now for the big feature of this kit, this is a transformable mech. This turns into, as you would probably guess, a boat, specifically kind of an aircraft carrier style boat. Now this transformation is a little complicated, and you do need to remove some parts and put them back on, and there's a couple adapter pieces required as well. So it's not a seamless transformation, but it does look really nice once completed. The drones that are normally on the side shield armor can be attached to the front, and the propellers that are normally attached to the legs become the propellers at the back of the boat. The minigun tucks away, so that's not visible, but the rifle and the top part of the mech is still visible. So overall, I really love this kit. With all those pieces, it's really a challenge, and I like this kind of challenge. It feels kind of like a nice moderate step up in skill from a typical master grade, for example. The number of parts and the visible layering on the details, especially on the chest, look great. And you'll really need to do at least a little bit of panel lining or something to make this kit look the best it can be. My only really gripe comes from the fact that these pieces on the head here look like they should have also been green clear parts. And the feet are just a little too small. They look kind of comical from the design standpoint, from this big bulky mech and these itty bitty little feet. And they don't really hold up the mech as well as they should. Thankfully, the little wing accessories in the back kind of help the mech stand up. And the arms with all the accessories on also suffer from a bit of sagging, but it's not a deal killer. But yeah, if you think this kit looks cool and you're looking for something a little bit more challenging, definitely give this thing a shot. Coming from someone who's never made a frame arms kit before, I have to say I am now a fan. And that's it for this episode of Gunpla TV, and I will catch you next time. Thanks for watching.